Hey everyone, this is Patrick and it is time for another collection update. This time I want to show you albums that I found in the wild. It's always so much fun still to walk into a record store, check out the new and used metal section, and give your hard-earned dollars to other people who deserve hard-earned dollars, right? So I went to a store that I go to every now and then. I haven't picked up much from them except until today. So I picked up, let's see, 6 CDs and 1 LP, and they span the last 10, 15, 20 years. They span hardcore to death metal to black and death metal to even deathcore. Let's see. First up is, let's go with Belphegor. This is Belphegor with Conjuring the Dead. Belphegor are mostly a two-piece. They've had different drummers, and actually there's only one original member left at this point. Belphegor are a blackened death metal band from Austria. They have become one of my favorites recently. I like all of their albums. This is their 2014 release. Belphegor play really a textbook style of black metal / death metal. Think of bands like Behemoth is who they sound like a lot, but they have more of about 50-50 blend than Behemoth. Behemoth tends to have, periods of time where they're more death metal or more black metal. Belphegor has basically pretty consistently been a split of black metal and death metal. Their later stuff is probably a bit more death metal than their earlier stuff, except for their first album. Conjuring the Dead 2014 album. Saw it there in the wild, had to pick it up. Here's the back imagery with the song listing. Sorry for the glare. My goal was to pick up any Belphegor that I saw, of course, that I didn't already own. Brings us to last year's album called The Devils. This is from 2022, and there they are again on the back. There's a good shot of the artwork. This is probably one of my favorite artworks of Belphegor. So this is a pretty divisive album, I believe, because they went a bit slower than normal. This one, they really lean into the sort of epic, sort of almost like they're participating in a black mass, if you will. This sounds like Behemoth a lot. The first track, The Devils, the title track, is one of my favorite Belphegor songs ever. Teutontan's Dance Macabre is also very good. I like how they end the album with the more ambient, sort of choral type chanting tracks. Yeah, cool album. Definitely worthy of a CD purchase, but one of my least favorite Belphegor albums at the same time. This is Belphegor with The Devils, came out in 2022. Was happy to find that in the wild. Next up, let's go with 2023 album, Suicide Silence with Remember You Must Die. This came out of nowhere for me. I'm not interested. I didn't think I would be interested in another Suicide Silence album. This is close to what, if deathcore is going to sound like anything that makes me want to listen to it, it better sound like this. This is close to death metal. There's some Nile riffing. The breakdowns are used sparingly, which gives them a better impact. Eddie's vocal dynamics are pretty good. I like when he goes very low and guttural. His mid-range is a little bit too much of a hardcore bark for me. I like when he goes low. I want him to go more lower more often. Cool lyrical themes that are all a reflection on the fact that, well, memento mori, the fact that we all die. Good album. It's fell a bit since I originally gave it. I think I gave it an 8 on my first reactions. Definitely worthy of a CD listen, a CD purchase. I listen to it regularly compared to some other stuff that I checked out this year that was right around the same rating for me. So yeah, Suicide Silence, Remember You Must Die. Maybe the best deathcore album that I've heard ever. Next up, I picked up this amazing compilation put out by Relapse. I think it was late last year. Tricennial of Blasphemy. This is a career-spanning compilation of 7-inch tracks, live tracks, songs that were on different movie soundtracks and video game soundtracks for Incantation. It's a 2 CD set. You get 31 tracks and 2 hours and 11 minutes of music. There's a really cool about 30-page, 40-page booklet in here. Incantation, they created a subgenre on their own of death metal in New York in the late 80s to early to mid 90s. They really established this scene this sound that so many bands to this day take a lot of influence from. Cavernous old school death metal, discordant riffs, dissonant squeals, super low gutturals from, well, most of their vocalists, Craig Pillard, now John McEntee, continuing that, has done a great job himself over the last decades. Incantation, Tricennial of Blasphemy. It also features 2 unreleased songs. Those are the first 2 tracks. A couple of other unreleased songs as well. But most of these are from 7 inches. There's a Slayer cover, Hell Awaits. They cover their own original. John was in Revenant, so they cover What Was to Become. That was more of a thrashier, death thrash sound. But they cover Revenant on this CD. Cool artwork. Incantation, as blasphemous and evil as ever. Next up, this was a surprising find. It was only $4.99. This is Turris Eburnia. They put out a self-titled EP in 2021 out on Everlasting Spew. The title of the band means Tower of Ivory in Latin, but this features, let's see what his name is. This features Gabrielle from Cosmic Putrefaction. On Taurus Eburnia, this is their self-titled EP, experimental death metal. You get 4 tracks, 20 minutes, and 13 seconds of music. This is Blood Incantation meets Void Ceremony. If that blend sounds great. Not as riffy, but they do that cosmic, experimental, mind-melting blend of avant-garde, progressive, technical death metal. Again, not as riffy as Blood Incantation, but definitely they take influence, I would imagine, from Blood Incantation. Turris Eburnia. This was a cool find. $4.99 local shop. And yeah, a really killer EP from 2021, one of my favorite EPs from 2021. Let's go with the vinyl. Vinyl I decided to pick up. Been thinking about getting this for a while, and this is the 2003 self-titled album from Deftones. This is actually one of my favorite Deftone albums. I know a lot of people like the stuff that came before this, or like the stuff that came right after. For me, this is one of my top, let's say top 3, top 4 Deftones album. My number 1 is Diamond Eyes. Hexagram is a killer opening track. Minerva is one of their best singles, I would say. Just, it's Deftones. It's what they do best. This is one of their darkest albums. It is depressing. Is Deftones a metal band? They sometimes unfairly get considered alternative metal or new metal. That's because their first 2 albums, I believe. This band tends to transcend a lot of scenes. Love Chino's vocals. Chino's vocals bring in some of that post-punk flair. Their guitar tone is always heavy. I kind of consider them post-sludge. Let's call them that. People won't like that, but let's call them that. Post-sludge / heavy hard rock meets post-metal. That's Deftones to me. And last but not least, this is my favorite band. I've probably mentioned before on this channel that I used to own a bunch of CDs, then I got rid of them. Mostly, shouldn't say mostly, but yeah, I'm primarily collecting vinyl right now. But when there are albums that I want that are cheap, that I find on CD, sometimes I pick those up. So Every Time I Die, Hot Damn, this was like $5 or something. This is their second album, came out in 2003, 27 minutes of music you get on here. And Hot Damn is a classic metalcore, metallic hardcore, in my opinion. I actually think they kept getting better as a band. They put out my favorite album of 2022 called Radical. But there are some classics on here, such as Off-Broadway, Godspeed Us to Sea, Floater, Ebola-Rama. Amazing stuff. So, yeah. I don't like too much hardcore. I would say basically Every Time I Die is the exact sound I want from a hardcore band, and only they deliver that. I do have a probably 40, 45 or so CDs plus vinyl collection that are hardcore bands. I might do a series of that sooner or later here on this channel. But yeah, I would have held out for the vinyl edition, but you can't find it for cheaper than $300, $400. That's not happening. Hot Damn by Every Time I Die is the final pickup that I found today at a local record shop. The name of the shop is CD Warehouse. It is located in South County, Missouri. The jurisdictions are kind of weird here in the St. Louis metropolitan region, but city is considered St. Louis as far as the address goes. So CD Warehouse, St. Louis, you will find it, but it is on Tesson Ferry in South County. And yeah, so this has been fun. Please let me know in the comments which of these bands you like. What are some other stuff that I should check out based on these bands? What have you been listening to? And thank you all for engaging in the comment section. It's really fun. I'm sure I'll see Kevin down there. I'm sure I'll see Greg. I always see Anthony. Yeah, so bye.